Imagine a future, not too far from now, where the world is gripped by conflict, natural disasters, and famine. This is the world that Nostradamus, the 16th century French astrologer, predicts for us in 2024. Nostradamus, a name that has become synonymous with prophecy, has been credited with foreseeing some of the most impactful events in history. His quatrains, written in cryptic verses, have been interpreted to predict the rise of Adolf Hitler, the assassination of John F. Kennedy, the horrors of the September 11th attacks, and even the global pandemic of COVID. His book, Les Prophéties, has been studied and analyzed for centuries, and each year, scholars and enthusiasts alike eagerly dissect his words to discern what the future holds. His prophecies, while shrouded in mystery, have often been eerily accurate. Now let's delve into what Nostradamus predicts for the year 2024. Nostradamus mentions a king of the Isles being driven out by force. Is this a prediction of royal turmoil in the United Kingdom? In his book, Les Prophéties, Nostradamus, a celebrated 16th century French astrologer, made a series of prophecies. Among these, a particularly intriguing one stands out. The prophecy mentions a king of the Isles, who will be driven out by force. This cryptic reference has led many to speculate around its possible meanings and implications. Could it be a reference to the British monarchy, often associated with the term Isles? If we are to follow this line of thought, it could suggest a potential crisis in the British monarchy, perhaps even a forced abdication. History has borne witness to such events, so it wouldn't be a first. Could it be King Charles III who is referenced here? As the current monarch of the United Kingdom, he would indeed fit the description of the King of the Isles. But what could possibly lead to such a dramatic event? Could it be an internal conflict within the monarchy, or perhaps external pressures from the public or the government? We could also consider a broader interpretation of the term Isles. It could refer to any island nation, not just the United Kingdom. This would significantly widen the scope of the prophecy, encompassing potential upheavals in any of the world's island nations. It's important to remember that while Nostradamus's prophecies are intriguing, they are also notoriously vague and open to interpretation. Each prophecy can be interpreted in countless ways, depending on the reader's perspective, current events, and even personal biases. However, one thing is clear: the mention of a king of the Isles being driven out by force indicates turmoil, conflict, and change. Whether this refers to the British monarchy or not, it suggests that power structures may be challenged, and the status quo could be disrupted. But the royal turmoil is just the beginning of Nostradamus's predictions. Nostradamus predicts combat and naval battles with a red adversary becoming pale with fear. Could this be referring to China? Diving into the details, this 16th century French astrologer envisions a time of global strife, a world stage set for conflict and battles fought on the high seas. The imagery is vivid, the implications severe. But who exactly is this red adversary? Nostradamus's cryptic language leaves room for interpretation, and some speculate this might be an allusion to China. The nation, often symbolized by the color red, has been a prominent player in global politics for decades. If this interpretation holds true, the prophecy foretells a time when this adversary, this red adversary, is driven to a state of fear. The geopolitical consequences of such an event would undoubtedly be far-reaching and significant. But the prophecy doesn't stop at the mere mention of naval battles. It paints a broader picture of widespread global strife. This could mean anything from political tensions escalating to full-scale war, to economic struggles, to struggles for resources. The exact nature of this strife is unclear, but what is clear is that it won't be confined to one region or country. It will be a global phenomenon, affecting nations and people across the world. However, it's important to remember that these are interpretations of a centuries-old prophecy. They are not certainties and they are not set in stone. The future is fluid, shaped by our actions and decisions. And while it's fascinating to delve into these predictions, we must also focus on the present, on what we can do now to prevent such strife from occurring. As if war wasn't enough, Nostradamus also predicts a worsening climate crisis. But we'll delve into that in the next scene. For now, let's keep our minds open and our hopes high. After all, the future is not written, it's ours to shape. According to Nostradamus, the world will face extreme weather events and widespread hunger in 2024. The 16th century French prophet foresaw a worsening climate crisis, and its potential impact on global food security is alarming. As we delve deeper into his prophecies, we encounter a bleak prediction, a world grappling with extreme weather events from scorching heat waves to bone-chilling cold snaps. from catastrophic hurricanes to devastating droughts. These erratic weather patterns, according to Nostradamus, could become the norm in the year 2024, pushing our planet to its brink, testing our resilience, and challenging our survival. But the prophecy doesn't stop at erratic weather. The climate crisis, as predicted, has far-reaching consequences, one of the most critical being its impact on global food security. Nostradamus foresees a world where the breadbaskets turn barren, where the granaries stand empty, and where the tables are devoid of sustenance. This, dear listeners, is the prophecy of a global famine. What could potentially trigger such a crisis? The reasons could be manifold. Climate change affects agriculture directly and indirectly. Rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, and increased frequency of extreme weather events can severely impact crop yield. Indirectly, the climate crisis can disrupt the delicate balance of ecosystems, leading to the loss of pollinators or an increase in pests, further hampering food production. The consequences of such a famine are dire. Hunger and malnutrition could become widespread, leading to a significant rise in mortality rates. Social structures could crumble under the weight of scarcity, leading to conflict and unrest. Economies could collapse, and nations could be thrown into chaos. But remember, these are prophecies, predictions based on visions seen by a man in the 16th century. They are not set in stone. The future, as always, remains in our hands. Our actions today can and will shape the world of tomorrow. And finally, Nostradamus predicts a change at the very top of the Catholic Church. Nostradamus suggests that Pope Francis may soon have a replacement due to the death of an old pontiff. This prediction is a stark one, hinting at a significant change in the leadership of the Catholic Church. The death of a pontiff, an old one no less, carries a profound meaning. It signifies the end of an era, a conclusion of a chapter, and the beginning of a new one. When we delve into the implications of this, the foremost is the potential for a shift in the direction of the Church. Each pontiff brings his unique perspective and leadership style, influencing the Church's teachings and the faith of its billion-plus followers. A change at the helm can lead to new interpretations of doctrine, potentially causing ripples of change throughout the Catholic world. Furthermore, the transition period following the death of a pontiff can be a time of uncertainty for the Church and its followers. The process of selecting a new leader, known as a papal conclave, is a deeply secretive and solemn event. It's a time of introspection and prayer, as cardinals from around the world gather to choose the next spiritual leader. Lastly, it's worth noting the symbolism of an old pontiff's death. It could suggest the passing of traditional ways, making room for fresh perspectives and approaches. However, it's all conjecture based on a centuries-old prophecy, and only time will tell what the future holds. These are the grim predictions that Nostradamus has made for the year 2024. But remember, his most fearsome predictions for 2023 have yet to come true. As we face the future, it's important to remember that predictions are not certainties. Indeed, as we've navigated through the prophecies of Nostradamus for the year 2024, we've encountered a variety of foreboding visions. From royal upheaval to global strife, climatic disasters and famine, to the death of an old pontiff, these predictions paint a picture of a challenging year ahead. Yet, these prophecies should not be seen as inevitable outcomes, but rather as potential paths that could unfold based on current circumstances. They are warnings, not destinies set in stone. The King of the Isles being driven out, the battles on the seas, the intensifying climate crisis and world hunger. These are not certainties, but possibilities that can still be influenced by our collective actions and decisions. And let's not forget about the prophecy regarding the death of an old pontiff. While it may seem bleak, it also implies change and the possibility of new beginnings. It's a reminder that even in the midst of turmoil, there's always room for hope and a chance for renewal. Throughout history, Nostradamus has been credited with foreseeing significant events, but it's equally significant to note that many of his most fearsome predictions for 2023 didn't come to fruition. This reiterates our point: predictions are not certainties. While we should be mindful of these predictions, let's not forget that the future is, ultimately, in our hands. Our actions today will shape the world of tomorrow. We have the power to alter the course of our future, to transform bleak prophecies into opportunities for growth, resilience, and unity. The future is unwritten, and with every choice we make, we're penning our own narratives.